Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about tertiary treatment of industrial wastewater, which is the last process of all the treatment steps. Tertiary treatment is the next wastewater treatment process after secondary treatment. This treatment is sometimes called as the final or advanced treatment and consists of removing the organic load left after secondary treatment for removal of nutrients from sewage and particularly to kill the pathogenic bacteria. Secondary treatment removes 85 to 95% of bog and TSS and minor portions of nitrogen, phosphorus, and heavy metals. The effluents from secondary sewage treatment plants contain both nitrogen N and phosphorus P. N and P are ingredients in all fertilizers. When excess amounts of N and P are discharged, plant growth in the receiving waters may be accelerated, which results in eutrophication in the water body receiving such waste. The purpose of tertiary treatment is to provide a final treatment stage to raise the effluent quality before it is discharged to the receiving environment such as sea, river, lake, ground, etc., or to raise the treated water quality to such a level to make it suitable for intended use. This step removes different types of pollutants such as organic matter, SS, nutrients, pathogens, and heavy metals that secondary treatment is not able to remove. Wastewater effluent becomes even cleaner in this treatment process through the use of stronger and more advanced treatment systems. Let's understand why it is needed. To remove specific organic and inorganic constituents from industrial effluent to make it suitable for reuse. To remove total suspended solids and organic matter, those are present in effluents after secondary treatment. To remove residual nutrients beyond what can be accomplished by earlier treatment methods. Also, to make treated wastewater suitable for land application purpose or directly discharge it into the water bodies like rivers, lakes, etc. To remove pathogens from the secondary treated effluents. To reduce total dissolved solids TDS from the secondary treated effluent to meet reuse quality standards. Now, look at this diagram that shows one or more of the unit operation or process mentioned in that are used for achieving tertiary treatment. So, after primary and secondary treatment, the picture show different kinds of tertiary treatments such as nutrient removal, disinfection, nitrification and denitrification, phosphorus removal, membrane process, filtration and carbon adsorption. We are going to see all the process one by one in this video. As I said, the major processes under the tertiary treatment are 1. Solids removal 2. Biological nitrogen removal 3. Biological phosphorus removal 4. Disinfection 5. Membrane filtration. Now coming to the concept of biological nitrification and denitrification. Bacteria remove ammonia nitrogen from wastewater by a two-step biological processes, nitrification followed by denitrification to convert it finally to gaseous nitrogen. In this gaseous form N is inert and does not react with the wastewater itself or with other constituents present in wastewater. Since treated wastewater is likely to be saturated with molecular nitrogen, the produced N2 is simply released to the atmosphere. These two steps involved require different environmental conditions and hence generally they are carried out in separate reactors. Let's look at nitrification now. It has important role in nitrogen removal from wastewater during treatment. The biological conversion of ammonium to nitrate nitrogen is called nitrification. It is autotrophic process, i.e. energy for bacterial growth is derived by oxidation of nitrogen compounds such as ammonia. In this process, the cell yield per unit substrate removal is smaller than heterotrophs. Nitrification is a two-step process. In first step, Bacteria known as nitrosomonas can convert ammonia and ammonium to nitrite. These bacteria known as nitrifiers are strictly aerobes. This process is limited by the relatively slow growth rate of nitrosomonas. Next, bacteria called nitrobacter finish the conversion of nitrite to nitrate. Nitrosomonas and nitrobacter use the energy derived from the reactions for cell growth and maintenance. The stepwise reactions of nitrogen oxidation that lead to the formation of nitrite are shown here. Next is denitrification. When nitrogen removal is required, one of the available methods is to follow biological nitrification with denitrification. Denitrification is accomplished under anaerobic or near anaerobic conditions by facultative heterotrophic bacteria commonly found in wastewater. Nitrates are removed by two mechanisms. One, conversion of nitrate to nitrogen gas by bacterial metabolism, and two, conversion of NO to nitrogen contained in cell mass, which may be removed by settling. Denitrification occurs when oxygen levels are depleted and nitrate becomes the primary electron acceptor source for microorganisms. Denitrifying bacteria are facultative organisms. They can use either dissolved oxygen or nitrate as an oxygen source for metabolism and oxidation of organic matter. This is carried out by heterotrophic bacteria such as Pseudomonas, Spirillum, Lactobacillus, Bacillus, Micrococcus, etc. For reduction to occur, the DO level must be near to zero, and carbon supply must be available to the bacteria. Because of low carbon content is required for the previous nitrification step, carbon must be added before denitrification can proceed. A small amount of primary effluent, bypassed around secondary and nitrification reactor, can be used to supply the carbon. However, the unitrified compounds in this water will be unaffected by the denitrification process and will appear in effluent. When complete nitrogen removal is required, an external source of carbon containing no nitrogen will be required. Coming to phosphorus removal now. Normally secondary treatment can only remove 1 to 2 mg/L of phosphorus, so a large excess of phosphorus is discharged in the final effluent, causing eutrophication of lakes and natural water bodies. Generally it appears as orthophosphate, polyphosphate and organically bound phosphorus. Phosphorus is required for microbes for cell synthesis and energy transport, maintenance, as well as it is stored for subsequent use by microbes. Bacillobacter organisms are helpful for removal of phosphorus from effluent. Under anaerobic conditions, phosphorus accumulating organisms assimilate fermentation products, i.e. volatile fatty acids, into storage products within the cells with a concomitant release of phosphorus from stored polyphosphates. The phosphorus-enriched supernatant that comes out of the phosphorus stripper is treated with lime to precipitate the phosphorus. The resultant liquid supernatant can be returned to the aeration tank for further treatment. Next in the list is disinfection process. There are 3 different disinfection process, which are 1. Chlorination, 2. UV light radiation, 3. Ozonation. Chlorination is most common disinfection process that we come across every day, especially in swimming pools. The advantages of chlorination is its low cost and effectiveness, but the disadvantages is that chlorine residue could be harmful to environment and skin. Then comes the disinfection process, UV light radiation, which damages the genetic structure of bacteria, viruses and other pathogens by destroying their DNA. The advantages of UV light radiation: no chemicals are used, water tastes more natural, but the disadvantages is high maintenance of the UV lamp. The third one is ozonation, that oxidizes most of the pathogenic microorganisms. Advantage is that it is safer than chlorination and there are fewer disinfection byproduct. Disadvantage is the high cost. Now coming to next tertiary treatment process, which is membrane process. Membrane technology can be used to treat a variety of wastes, including sanitary landfill leachate containing both organic and inorganic chemical species, water-soluble oil wastes used in metal fabricating and manufacturing industries, solvent water mixtures, and oil-water mixtures generated during washing operations at metal fabricating facilities. Depending upon the material used for membrane, nature of driving force and separation mechanism, the membrane processes can be classified into subprocesses such as electrodialysis or electrodialysis reversal (EDR), microfiltration (MF), ultrafiltration (UF), nanofiltration (NF), reverse osmosis (RO), MF, UF, NF and RO use pressure to transport water across the membrane. MF removes particulate matter while RO removes many solutes as water permeate through the membrane. MF membranes have the largest pore size and typically reject large particles and various microorganisms. UF membranes have smaller pores than MF membranes and, therefore, in addition to large particles and microorganisms, they can reject bacteria and soluble macromolecules such as proteins. RO membranes are effectively non-porous and, therefore, exclude particles and even many low molar mass species such as salt ions, organics, etc. NF membranes are relatively new and are sometimes called loose RO membranes. Let's understand the membrane process. The membrane is defined as the thin film separating two phases and acting as a selective barrier to the transport matter. Chemical potential difference exists between the two phases. As you can see in this picture, retentate contains non-permeating species. Permeate forms the produced water from the membrane filtration. First kind of membrane process is reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis RO is a most commonly used membrane filtration method that removes many types of large molecules and ions from effluents by applying pressure to the effluent when it is on one side of a selective membrane. RO is used to remove specific dissolved organic constituents from wastewater remaining after advanced treatment with depth filtration or MF. RO system can operate at 90% efficiency or better with respect to TDS. The solvent of the solution is transferred through a dense membrane tailored to retain salts and low molecules weight solutes. When concentrated saline solution is separated from pure water by such a membrane, difference in chemical potential tends to promote the diffusion of water from the diluted compartment to the concentrated compartment in order to equalize concentration. At equilibrium, the difference in the levels between two compartments corresponds to the osmotic pressure of the saline solution. The demineralization of water can be accomplished using thin, microporous membranes. There are two basic modes of operation in use. One system uses pressure to drive water through the membrane against the force of osmotic pressure and is called RO. The pressure applied is several orders of magnitude in excess of natural osmotic pressure. The membrane commonly used in reverse osmosis is composed of cellulose acetate and is about 100 meters thick. The film contains microscopic openings that allow water molecules to pass through but retain dissolved solids by either molecular sieving or by some other mechanism which is not yet completely understood. The process results in a concentrated solution of the ions on the pressured side of the membrane and product water relatively free of ions on the other side of the membrane. Nanofiltration (NF) is a pressure-driven process wherein the pore size of the membrane is in the range of 0.5 to 1 nm. Membrane separation technique for water and wastewater treatment, as well as concentration/separation of antibiotics and pharmaceuticals. Unique charge-based repulsion property and high rate of permeation. NF membranes allow partial permeation of monovalent salts such as sodium chloride while rejecting bivalent salts and hardness to a greater extent from aqueous solutions. NF can lower TDS and hardness, reduce color and odor, and remove heavy metal ions from groundwater. Ultrafiltration UF is a clarification and disinfection membrane operation. UF membranes are porous and allow only coarser solutes macromolecules to be rejected. All types of microorganisms as viruses and bacteria and all types of particles can be removed by this process. Since the low molecular solutes are not retained by UF, osmotic back pressure can be neglected and operating pressure is kept low as 500 kPa. Microfiltration MF membranes are having 0.1 meter or more pore size. It is generally used for particulate matter removal. The pressure used in this process is similar to that of ultrafiltration. And finally, you can see all the processes occurring in wastewater treatment in this picture in combined form. Thank you. Hope the information was useful to you. If you like it, then do subscribe our channel for more such educational videos.